Today, let's examine the construction process of the world's largest telescope. James Webb Telescope. NASA published the first projects 30 years ago, in 1995 to 96. These are the first drafts of the project. First, they start with a budget of $1 billion. In subsequent years, this budget increases to $10 billion. Thousands of scientists from all over the world are working on this telescope. Its diameter is 6.5 meters. It consists of 18 giant gold-plated mirrors. This telescope makes observations from space, not on Earth. So why? The telescope will look to the farthest reaches of the universe. The light of the Earth and the Sun should not distort this image. That's why James Webb is placed in a blind spot 1.5 million kilometers from Earth. There are no astronauts in this telescope. It works just like this toy transformer. Once settled in space, there is no possibility of intervention. What if there is a malfunction? There is nothing to do. $10 billion will be wasted. That's why scientists worked for 25 years to bring the margin of error close to zero. Its launch into space has been canceled numerous times. If there had been a mistake in even one of the thousands of stages, the telescope would have turned into space junk. It folds for transport. It will be completed in 25 years. It is carried at a speed of 10 kilometers per hour without shaking. It arrives by ship at the base in French Guiana. It is placed on Ariane 5. It was finally shipped in 2021, and it sets off. There is no possibility of intervening in any errors from now on. The reward of 25 years of work could be lost with a single malfunction. 31 minutes after being sent into space, its solar panels are deployed to provide energy. After 20 hours, the detonators remove it from the Earth. After 24 hours, the communication antenna on it is activated. On the third day, the front and back fins that carry the sun shields are opened. After the 12th day, the first wing of the large mirror opens, and on the 14th day, the other wing opens. Then the telescopic poles that support the shields in the middle are opened. On the 10th day, the special cooler starts working. It is located at a location 4 times the distance between the Earth and the Moon. 50 different parts are opened. There are 140 different opening mechanisms. 344 critical stages are passed without errors. 18 different mirrors need to be aligned and focused as one large mirror. The mirrors are guided by very precise motors. Thousands of little adjustments. The moment and happy ending that has been awaited for 25 years. James Webb is currently working, sending photos from the farthest reaches of the universe. Why did I mention the James Webb Telescope? What do I mean by explaining? When you produce a car, you can always fix any errors that may arise. When an aircraft makes a test flight, errors are discovered and can then be corrected. I give the example of James Webb because of this. This is the final version of the telescope. From now on, the telescope will no longer be touched by human hands. Thousands of scientists working on its production are now just spectators. From now on, when there is an error in the 344 stages, there is nothing to be done. James Webb's journey into space, its installation and opening there, without human intervention, is an important example for understanding nature. The maturation of every plant on Earth from seed to flower is a process like this. God, with His power, constructs every plant in this way according to the program in its seed. Every moment, every second, every split second, there is creation. This is a lily. It has a small seed like this. After the seed, it becomes a bulb. These books were James Webb's project outlines and summary presentation. 130 pages total, with an additional 36 pages. Thousands of scientists are based on this program. And after 25 years of work, they built this magnificent telescope. These books and articles explain how to build a lily from a tiny seed, step by step. Scientists first produced James Webb and then watched him without being able to intervene. In plants, scientists are just observers. They note the marvelous creations and the magnificent workings. They benefit from the production of new technologies. They receive Nobel Prizes to the extent that they unravel its mysteries. In the telescope, there is only the opening of a structure folded on top of another. There is no metamorphosis of parts. A lily seed goes through trillions of changes before it becomes a flower. It's a closed box right now. It's impossible to even know what the seed is. It can sleep like this for 5 to 10 years without deterioration in a cold and dry environment. The transformer starts to turn on when the button is pressed. By putting the seed into the soil and watering it, we are pressing the button. The seed I have has a volume of 5 millimeters cube. What's inside? There are 5 sections and a total of 2.5 million living cells in this small area. It is like a city with a population of 2.5 million, but they are all asleep. There are 5 types of cells in this seed. When it becomes a lily, 20 more cells are added to these cells. So there are 25 types of cells in this one. The seed consists of 5 types of cells when it is a nucleus. But when the seed develops into a bulb, 20 more types of cells are added to these 5 cells. When it becomes a full flower, it consists of 84 different types of cells. This miraculous event is exactly what happens in the lily. When that seed becomes a full-fledged flower, its volume has increased 50 million times. Each of these cell types has a different function. So, how is the organized movement of these cells achieved? These choreographies were worked on for days. There is communication between them. If there was no communication between them, such images would not occur. So, how is communication established between these 84 types of cells? How does tissue change occur? How are growth processes controlled? How do cells know the boundaries of the flower? How do they fit within the formal boundaries of the lily? In this choreography, people form lily petals. So, what is needed? Those who take on roles need to know these boundaries and stay there. How does all this happen in plants? Scientists say that enzymes and hormones are responsible for these processes. There are 25 different chemicals. These enzymes and hormones are not simple chemicals. Some of them can only be produced in a laboratory environment. These are prepared in laboratories under the supervision of chemists with very precise measurements. Scientists cannot produce these in any way. Does the pitch-black soil synthesize chemicals that scientists cannot synthesize in the most advanced laboratories by chance? These chemicals are manufactured separately for each of the thousands, millions of flowers I see. Let's say it was manufactured. So, can these unconscious chemicals organize and create a work of art? Is there a reason why they do this? Let's take the example of James Webb. I'm looking through the telescope from a distance right now. NASA is nowhere to be found. I don't see the engineers. When we see the 344 stages happening before our eyes, do we say the following?
Look, everything happens automatically. No need for scientists. This telescope must have been formed by star explosions. We do not see scientists or astronauts performing these operations. Why should we believe what we don't see? Therefore, to say this telescope must have been made by humans is not scientific. It's just a belief.
I ignore the engineers because I don't see them if I have to give the creative power to those project books. I have to say that these two books put their heads together and build a telescope. I have to think that these books started the construction of the telescope. Then I think the folding and unfolding mechanisms invented themselves. I have to ascribe consciousness to the hinges and pistons used. But this contradiction is considered normal in plants. In the articles they wrote, some scientists described the growth of the lily with the following words.
Converts. Rely on. Acts. Employ. Cope with. Helps. Responsible. Provides. Promote. Evade. Serves. Regulate.
These actions are things that intelligent, knowledgeable people can do and design. It is not rational to expect such behavior from chemical substances. James Webb is not as complex as a lily. When it sets out on its journey, it does not gain new parts and new sections. Its volume and weight do not change. If it had changed as much as a lily, it would have looked like this. It started out as a single telescope. Then it would change every moment. At this point, there would be 100 different types of telescopes in orbit. Not only lilies, but all plants on Earth are born, grow, and reach their goal of creation by going through similar stages. Tiny seeds are transformed and become magnificent works of art. Having witnessed such miracles since the day we were born causes us to see extraordinary events as simple. God's power and might are so great that trillions of James Webbs are being built every moment. This is a real live lily flower. This is an artificial lily made from plastic Legos. Humans are odd. They firmly believe that a Lego lily must have both a designer and a factory. When the subject turns to an actual living lily, they inexplicably prefer to turn a blind eye to its ultimate creator, choosing instead to ignore the profound implications of its existence.